North Carolina as a whole is a state that is used to hurricanes, particularly on our outer banks. What I think was so unusual about Hurricane Helene was the fact that it hit an area of the state that is not used in any way to having the kind of inundation that they experienced here in the mountains of western North Carolina.
This is a year later, and this is always a sensitive time after a disaster.
Yes.
When people are remembering what happened, because anniversaries mean something when you've been through a really traumatic event.
Appalachia, USA. Weather warning. Beware of heavy rain. Will anyone remember Hurricane Helene just 50 years ago? Dorian? Andrew? Camille? We were forewarned. Will anyone remember? Will anyone imagine the future?
I don't even know if I can tell you how important this event is to me personally. I'm a psychologist. It's really important for us to be talking about healing, about trauma, and we know that the community is the strongest predictor for recovery from trauma. So our goal is to facilitate that today in numerous ways, hoping that we can touch people in ways that are important to them.
I'm really honored to have been invited into this space, which is very vulnerable and really raw for a lot of people. The event is called Hope After Helene. And as we talked about what we were going to do at the time, it was super clear to me that we did not want to call this a celebration. And it was made clear to me by others, because there are some people who are still in the thick of this right now. Right? I have personal friends who are cramped into temporary housing a year later with their kids and pets and such. It's not yet time to celebrate. At the same time, there has been healing that we want to name, and there have been things that we've learned about community and about each other that we want to celebrate. And when I talk about hope, anytime I talk about hope, I am always careful to mention the difference between cheap hope and deep hope. Right? Because there's a lot of cheap hope out there that is the kind of hope you get by keeping a positive attitude and not looking at what's hard. And that's really different from deep hope, which is about seeing everything that's dark, everything that's hard, looking right at it honestly, and also seeing the potential for healing, the potential for a better way in the future.
Having our local churches engaging their communities was most helpful, because those were relationships that already existed, and our churches being able to discern what people truly needed and being able to provide them in authentic and loving and Christian ways without making people feel that they were accepting charitable handouts, but these were neighbors helping out other neighbors. I think that's where we were probably most effective. One of the ways that Presbyterian engages our local churches is we serve as the fiscal agent for any funding that comes through PDA. So the local churches let us know of their particular need, and then we as a presbytery can turn around and provide both PDA funding, synod funding, and also in other churches who have taken up collections and the like. PDA has been a crucial component of the efforts we have undertaken for disaster recovery here.
So the water took our shelter, left us in the dark.
So I served on a state VOAD, Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster board. And so we stood ready. There was preparation, there was response, and then following up afterwards for how we can help the people in the communities. And all the faith groups joined together. Every faith group has a seat at the table, and certainly Presbyterian Disaster Assistance has a seat at the table also to help the communities impacted by disaster.
I think all stories intersect with other stories in ways that are pretty unpredictable, right? And so what I'm trying to do today is say very clearly, I'm not here to say that I understand, because your story is different from my story. I'm not here to say we fixed it, so congratulations, because we haven't, and we've got work to do. But I am here to say that we are at our best when we support each other. One of the profound things that happened in the hurricane was that people cranked up their chainsaws and people organized relief centers, and that was all the way across the political spectrum. And all those people took care of each other because they perceived each other's humanity. And when we remember each other's humanity, we remember our own.
We had to find hope at the beginning, and it has just grown and grown. And the love of our neighbors, of our families, of volunteers has just grown and grown. Just extremely thankful. I mean, today is like Thanksgiving.
Hope is not the thing with feathers, it's the thing with boots and gloves.